Come here.
There you go.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I hope everybody out there can hear me okay. I was so frustrated last week. That sound was horrible. But happy Friday, Candis. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Happy Friday.
Thank you for being a guest on the show on today. And if you guys don't already know, Melanin Vibes is a show about promoting the emotional and mental health of women of color, specifically young Christian women. And we like to start our show off with something called Thinking Baps Are Thankful. So, Miss Candice Brooks, what, as a Black American princess, are you thankful for on today?
Today I am thankful for growth.
Ooh.
I'm thankful for growth. I had a moment today, but I grew out of that moment. I grew so that I can handle that moment. So
there you go.
I'm thankful for growth.
That's a good thing. And listen, the thing about growth is like, it doesn't mean that you're not going to, have moments. You're still going to have moments. It's how long it takes you to recover from those moments and get back on the right track. So that's a good thing.
It was a testing thing. I feel like I was being tested. Mm-hmm. And so I'm grateful that I've grown out of old Candis.
You're not snapping.
Right. That's exactly what I mean. I'm not snapping. I'm being nice.
That's wonderful.
Walking away.
Listen, I understand because we are cousins, so we are all cut from the same cloth. I already know.
Right.
I already know. But I wanted to talk to you. I feel like I want to start off with this because I've been reading a lot about microaggression in the workplace. And since I've been in Atlanta, I'm doing some different things. And I've noticed it's a lot different than Los Angeles. And there have been, like, I've encountered moments.
Nala, go. Sorry.
Nala wants to be a part of the show.
I have a lot to say.
Noticed in the past month so many things that I'm like, oh, wait, you're not supposed to say that. You can't say that. Why are you saying that? Let's talk about microaggression in the workplace, Candice.
Absolutely.
What is it for those that don't know?
So microaggressions are those things that happen when you're at work that they're just small things. I'll explain. I'll give you an example. So I work with very young children. I teach 4 and 5-year-olds. Mm-hmm. So we have a rest time, a time when it's time to settle. I'll go in another classroom. In the classroom, they'll be playing like Adele music, like something very mellow, something calm. I might play something mellow like John B. or like something like old school 90s R&B. Mm-hmm. And my director might come into my room and feel that is inappropriate. However, Adele is okay. These are microaggressions. These are small things. Right. These are small things that mean, in actuality, they mean nothing, but they're trying to say your culture, where you come from and what you do is not acceptable, basically. Mm-hmm. And they can add up. They've added up for me, but they can definitely add up.
No, they can add up. And it makes for like a very uncomfortable workplace. I mean, I find myself already like just a month in and I'm like, I'm gonna have to be that girl. I guess.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl because there's so many of us, but I'm gonna have to be that girl.
I know.
Like, this is not
I don't want to be
there
that
person.
There are
things you cannot say.
I get to the point where it's like there are so many things that need to be said and need to be handled because I work. So I live, in a suburb of Detroit, and I work in a very rich suburb of Detroit. So a lot of a lot of people feel entitled, and a lot of people are comfortable in their white bubble. And so, like, I am one of 3 Black teachers. At first I was the only one, but now I'm one of 3 Black teachers. And I just noticed, you know, some different things. I noticed how we're treated differently. I noticed how, you know, just certain things that bother people that shouldn't bother anybody. And it's really, it can wear on you if you don't address it. It gets very daunting, and it starts to feel like, and even if you do address it, I mean, it starts to feel like you're suffocating because somebody is telling you, or somebody is portraying to you, or I don't know how to say this, but somebody is telling you that what you're doing, where you come from, the things that you learn and what you're comfortable with is unacceptable. And that in and of itself is unacceptable. So to say that my being and my culture is unacceptable it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And listen, let's go ahead and put it out there. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's unintentional. I mean, because sometimes people really don't, and we all may have, you know, participated in, did some microaggression at some point, but sometimes people don't realize it, and they don't anticipate that this is, you know, this is a thing. So you do have to talk about it. I feel like it's important to bring it up. It's just how you bring it up. So for the young woman who is in that kind of situation in the workplace, because we do want our jobs. I mean, of course, we're going to rule the world and have our own businesses. But right now, we have to do what we have to do. So how do you navigate that in a graceful way?
So this is a hard road to go. It's kind of a choice that you have to make, really. And you kind of have to get your ducks in a row and have a plan if you plan to address it. Because, you know, this can go one of 2 ways, you know, like you could have, I, for instance, had a situation where I was accused of stealing something at work. It was not, obviously, I did not steal whatever it was they thought I stole. The police were called. They like searched my bags. They searched my car. Of course, I allowed it because I was terrified. But this thing happened, and so I wanted to address management. Like, how did this happen to me? And I was discouraged from addressing it. I was discouraged from going to, you know, seek higher, you know, management or the CEO even. Like, I was completely discouraged. At the time, I was very new to my job and had no options to leave at that moment. And so I stuck it out. And then I made this decision in my head that was like, now I got to run this place. Now I have to run this place. And from that day to this one, you know, teachers come to me for advice. What should we do about blah, blah, blah? How do we deal with this family? How do we do that? And that feels good. But earlier this year, it got to a point where it was like, this feels good, but I need to get something off my chest. Like, I need to get this situation dealt with.
Right.
Because the things that are happening are unacceptable. And I can't be the person that I know. I'm a very strong person. I typically will say exactly what is on my mind. So to feel stifled like that was, it just felt wrong. It just felt wrong. And so I addressed it. I went to the head of the whole company and I sat in his office and I told him what happened. Now, here's the thing. What happened after that is I was told that policies would be put in place, and that discrimination policy never happened.
Surprise.
Right? Never happened. So cut to, a couple weeks ago, I went in the office. I got tired. There was an incident with another coworker touching a black coworker's hair, and this was like the third time this happened. And so, and the black teacher told the person not to do this. Oh. They continued to do it. The management told the teacher not to do this. She continued to do it. So I went into the office and said, I will not be starting 2022 here. Just letting you know. So now you have a minute to gather somebody to come in this room and teach these kids, but I can't do this. Like, I can't be here anymore. I have seen some terrible things. I mean, and like destructive. I mean, to be in that environment and feel that way, it's not helpful to anyone in the situation. No. So I would say, have a plan, make a plan if you're going to address it. I don't know why anybody would not address it, but that is also just me. I'm a very I can be very vocal, and I like to say exactly what is on my mind. However, I'm getting better with learning how to say those things.
Right.
Because the Smith side will come out, but
yes,
I'm learning how to say those things in a more diplomatic way, to where I get what I need, or my point comes across in the way I need you to be able to hear me. Like, I'm talking, but I don't want you to hear an angry black woman. I want you to hear me and the reasons why this is not suitable. So have a plan. The whole point is have a plan. Don't just walk in and go off. Make sure you have a plan.
Yes, definitely have a plan. Don't go off. I say have a plan, have your paperwork, and go in there and know the law, know the rules. There are some things that just should not be happening in the workplace. And some people don't speak up just because, one, they may not be as vocal. I mean, we come from a family that, we were encouraged to voice our opinions. That's what we do. That is what we do. We were encouraged. They've been doing this for years. But for those who maybe aren't as comfortable as speaking up, or maybe feel like they don't have an alternative, there are some people, like I'm learning, some people just feel like, oh, that's just the way it is. That's not, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
And the thing is, it hurts my heart when people are like that, because the truth of the matter is, in all situations, there are circumstances where it has in the past always been that way. But you have to get to a point where it's like, I'm not accepting that anymore.
Right.
So you have to upgrade to where I am. So if I'm respecting myself, you too have to respect me, period. Like, and if you can't, that's where the plan comes in. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But yeah, it's just not, I don't think that it is okay to accept someone demeaning or belittling you for any reason, but especially for your culture or your race. That, I mean, there's nothing you can do about how you were born. Who you are.
From. There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
And the workplace is not
made a choice. Right. Work is not work. We're here to do a job. We're here to get something done. And if you're not trying to get it done, and you're spending your time, criticizing me or critiquing me or nitpicking things about me personally, then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem, and it's not okay.
No, not at all. And it affects us mentally and emotionally. And I know that you went through, I'm going to, shift a little. You went through some physical challenges back in the fall, and you had, thank God you are doing much better. You're okay. But that brings me to a topic that we were talking about last week as well, is the disparages between Black women and white women, but other women, mainly white women, Black women, white women, and our health care and how our health is looked at, addressed,
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledged. And just reading your testimony, I won't read the whole thing, but just reading your testimony that you have posted about that experience, like, it really hurt my heart to know that, like, you had, because I've gone through the same thing that you've gone through, and like going to work and having to deal with people who really were like judging you and criticizing you, and like there's nothing you can do about things that happen to your health at all.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I wanted to talk about, is like, why does it feel like Black women have to fight so hard for just good health?
There's like a stigma about Black women and like us being over dramatic. The first time that I think that I experienced this is the first time I experienced this was I got my tonsils out like 3 years ago. Got my tonsils out, and something was wrong. So me and my mom went to the ER, and the doctor like looked at my throat and was like, "You're okay." Yeah, I don't see anything. So I go home, or I go to my mom's house, and I'm like sick, like really, really sick. And so we go back, and come to find out that one of my, wounds had opened, and that I was like bleeding into my stomach. So now I have to have another surgery to fix that. But had I just went on the word of this doctor, who just glanced in my throat, I would have been dead. Like that was the first time I realized, like, whoa, this is a thing. Like, doctors are literally, obviously not all doctors, but some doctors are literally like shooing off Black women, for whatever reason. And it's crazy. I mean, in the workplace, now this is another story. But when I had my surgery, I had fibroids, which I did not know about at all. Come to find out, as I found out that I had fibroids, at first my doctor was like, "There's a mass here," and I was like, "What? What? A mass? Don't say that." She's like, "Something's here." And so, she tested it, and she was like, "Okay, so it's not cancerous. It's just, it's just a fibroid, whatever." And so I was like, "Okay, thank God, whatever that is." And so she was like, "No, it's whatever it is." And so, she was like, "Your hemoglobin is very, very low, and, you need to take it easy, and it was low. It was like, it's supposed to be like a 15 or something, and it was like at 12, and she was like, "It's low, so you need to like slow down a bit." And then it got lower. It went lower to like, I think she said 5 point something. And she was like, "You are in danger of cardiac arrest, and you need to like go to the ER urgently. Like, you either need to leave and go lay down, or leave and go to the ER right away." I, of course, didn't want to go to the ER without my mother or my dad. So anyway, we decided to go the following day. And we went, and I had to have a blood transfusion. It was crazy. Like, the whole situation was just crazy, and very, I mean, thank God that I got through it and everything is okay now. But at the time, it was horrifying. I mean, I have never had any kind of major sickness, illness, problems, never ever in my life. So to have something like this come up the way it did, it was surprising to me. And I was terrified on many levels. I was in pain, obviously, but I was also I was scared. I was just scared.
Right.
So I went to work. I still went to work because I got to pay the bills. So I went to work, and you know, it was just like, you're moving really slow. And it's like, yeah, I am. Like, there were more microaggressions, but not surrounding me being Black, more surrounding me, like, they can't quite figure out what's wrong with me. It goes to the point of like, man, you should probably like lose a little bit of weight, or like, are you pregnant, or like that type of thing. And it's just like, wow. Like, then cut to, you know, this year, coworker has the same exact issues, a white coworker, which, by the way, fibroids is typically more common in Black women than white women.
Right.
But she has the same issue, and she goes forward with her, procedures, and obviously her things are actually, her situation was way milder than mine, like way milder. She did not have to have a blood transfusion. She wasn't bleeding profusely. Like, she was fine, and then they just found something, and she had to have it removed, or she's having, I don't know what's happening, but just the energy around her was definitely more, it was more,
they treat her with
supportive. Yeah, it was way more supportive. It was just like, what can we do? Do you need anything? Do you need a day off? How do you feel? How are you feeling today? She's really not feeling good. Can we do this a different time? What about the meeting? Do you need to stay for the training? You don't really need to stay for the... And so it got, to me, it was like, oh, I'm so, you know what, God, you knew. Because how did we get to this point where this person is going through the same exact thing, and the same person who said to me that I was moving slow is now telling this woman to take a whole day off of work? And we are severely short-staffed. So it's like, how does this work? You know, like, that's when it became a racial thing. You know, it wasn't a racial thing until it became a racial thing. It was like, oh, so in comparison, she gets treated a certain way, I get treated a different way. Why? I want to ask the question.
Listen, you document everything. You send your emails and document everything. For those that are watching, that's what you do. You document those things, because that is just definitely workplace discrimination. It's not something that you should have to go through. And I understand fibroids is a horrible thing to go through. That is something that I've experienced. I started at 19, and then I think 35 is when I finally had my hysterectomy. But through that whole time, like, I've had that battle with fibroids and dealing with that situation. And so I know it's painful. And so I definitely, my heart goes out to you, because I understand. It's a very, very scary thing. And that goes back to, it's so funny, because I was diagnosed at 19, and my very first doctor, he was like, oh, it's nothing. I was like, yeah, but I've never had like this much pain before. Like, it's really weird. And I think it was about 2 years of him being my doctor. And then I switched to another doctor who said, oh, you have fibroids. Like, this doctor told me nothing was wrong with me. It was just all in my head. So